P2-23 is a good example for the ordinate dimensions as well as setting up to utilize the whole wizard. So our geometry, we have baseline dimensions through the majority of the geometry, and then a table for for each of the component for the hole sizes, and also the slot positions. So let's go ahead and fly this out. And we're opening up an inch part. And somewhere it says that. So we're in inches. And so new part inch. And we'll go into the front plane, open the sketch. By this point, opening up the sketch, I think should be pretty comfortable with picking the plane. As we go into chapter 3 and we start doing more complicated geometry or get a little more involved, then we'll want to make some decisions about the top plane or utilizing the right plane. Okay, so if we just go into the sketch, we could do a rectangle for the envelope, but I think I want to just go ahead and do the sketch. I'm not going to worry about the corner fillets, inside, outside fillets and rounds. So that's about 3 inches over, up. And again, I'm doing the click drag is my preference. All right, and then we've got enough geometry now that we have to start watching for the inference lines to add things that we don't necessarily want. Okay, so we get that in place, and then we're ready to draw dimensions. So if you prefer to draw a line and then put a dimension on it, that is doable. It saves a little bit of the flipping if the geometry tries to invert. So since my fingers in the mouse are getting away from me, let's go into the smart dimension and pick our object, and this is 3.35 inches. To the top is 3.9, and the smart dimension is just going to go continuous or keep other way, 3.9. All right, we'll try that one more time, 3.9. All right, don't know, let me move that out of the way. All right, so overall 6.39. And since I had that pick for some reason, I just went ahead and grabbed the other side. So that gives us geometry 1.82. Well, I'm in that mode apparently to pick the verticals. So let's go ahead with the two objects, and that will put us into the angle dimension 238.29. Okay, and then the intersection would put it the 1.61. Okay, so I'm not worried about this moving around. We're at that that place where we can go ahead and pick which type of relation we want to add. So the decisions are to go point and point is vertical. If I go point and one of the lines, that would be coincident. And then if I go line in line, that's collinear. I still like the bigger target of the objects, so would probably stay with that one. We can go 0.55 to base, 0.75 on the inside, and then we have a missing dimension. So when there are missing dimensions, you're the designer, pick. You get to decide what you want. So 0.75 might be a little over that, but one of the things we can do too, if that is of concern, as we go further into our design and into the assemblies and the drawings, that might be something that we would want to revisit. So one of the things we can do, since I turned off the mark everything for drawing, hence my purple dimensions, if I mark this one for the drawing, it will highlight in black, and if I insert those dimensions in, it would come in with it. The other thing I can do is look at the dimension text once that dimension is highlighted, and then put an operander on it and say it's an inspection dimension as a reminder that I need to revisit that or see what is going on with that geometry. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and extrude this. And the advantage here is that adding all of those holes in the into this base piece is going to make this more complicated than I really want to deal with. So 0.5, I like it to go the other way. We'll go ahead and hit OK. All right, so standard would be we would add our hole locations. And since we're going to be doing a bunch of these and it's not really too much to define, I'm going to highlight, click, and Control V. Control C the circle, click in a new position, hit Control V. And I don't know that I'm saving a whole lot, but I am getting these in pretty quick. So the slot, no. I think we'll do the slot separate. Okay, so we can go 0.25. So my A1 through A5 are 1/4 of an inch. And once I have that positioned, A1 and A2 are also vertical to each other. So we will set that to equal. And then I can go back and pick the center points and make those vertical. All right, what else do we have? A3. And then we can just go down the line, find A4, A5, and looking at the pop-up, we'll make all of those equal. And if the symbols or you're not getting the pop-ups with the tooltips, then we can go over to the property manager and pick equal from the add relations. All right, so that gives us those. Let's go to the B's, B1 and B2. Our dimension of 0.4, and again select, control select, and equal. So when I pick the multiples, I don't think I mentioned that, so I want to make sure it gets mentioned that when we select, hold down the control button and select, we go horizontal, or if we're picking the perimeters and whatnot, then we can set those to be equal. And as long as you're holding down the control button and keep selecting, you're going to add to that, keep adding to that group. All right, so we did B, there's only the C1. So let's add C1 is 0.29 and D1 0.33. And our G1, or there's E1, 0.42. And we went to G is at the bottom, 0.73. Okay, and then F1 we got, okay, I think I got them all. All right, so we're ready to start adding the dimensions. And so if we want to go with the ordinates, we can do more dimensions from the in context. So that was a right mouse button. So again, if you're on the left mouse button, you will get the top portion. If you right mouse button on a dimension, you will get the full list. So let's see, there is the more dimensions. If I go with an ordinate, that I don't have to think about horizontal and vertical, but horizontal and the pictures will help us determine, but most of the time I'm better off just selecting. All right, so we can go in, pick those items. So B1, 3, we're just going to go down the line and pick that group. All right, going back into the more dimensions, I can pick ordinate again. Maybe, I think I turned it off though. Let's try that again, ordinate. And we'll get our verticals. And it's kind of going to be kind of a mess, at least to start. So there I got a center point, which is not too big of a deal. But that gets all of our geometry in to begin with. So going down the line, 0.25. The E3 position, so I can pretty much go down the list. We also have to decide if we're going to do any rounding. So I recognize that 0.88 is 7/8, but its actual decimal 0.875, and we'd have to decide if that rounding of 5 thousandths is going to be an issue. Same with the let's see, that is C1, so 1.76. And then we have the B2. Oh, that was 0.68. Which one did I get? Okay, so 0.68. And then the other B2. So a big part of this is just keeping track of it. And I think this is where the whole wizard would be a little bit easier as well. 1.28 is that we're going to, with the whole wizard, we're going to do those hole sizes pretty much within their with their own grouping. 2.66. And then the next is the F1, 3.71. And since those are pretty close, let's see, did I get the wrong one? F1, 3.71, and actually that's E. So yeah, I need to reverse those, 3.38, 3.71. And then G1 goes to 4.39. And the last A5 goes to 6.14. All right, so now that we've made that mess, we can go ahead to the display options, and I want to re-jog, which will kind of stretch everything out and clean it up. All right, so the next group, we're going to go 0.25, and then that one is pointed to B2, so B2 is going to be at 0.56. Make sure I'm double clicking on it. And then G1 jumps over to 0.71. And as I drag, it did a nice little snap there. So looks like E1 is going to 1.13, which I recognize as 1/8. And with the rounding, we would have an actual of 1.125, rounding up to the 1.13. The next one, that'll be the B1, is 1.29. And then A3 goes to 2.64. And A2 then is 3.10. Let's see, where does, then that would be C1 goes to 2.92. And D1 is 3.16. Okay, those are looking pretty good. We get over to F1 at 3.43. Okay, so that gets our geometry in place. Now the ordinate's kind of snapped, so if I grab one of those, yeah, that one didn't go that time. So right click, if I missed a dimension, needed to add a dimension to the ordinate, I can right click on any of those values and add to ordinate. And then the other one was the display options, rejog ordinate to clean it up. All right, so these are going to be an extrude cut through. I'm going to do the box and or the pocket and the slot separate. All right, so we're going to go open up another sketch. Again, make these as manageable as you can because they are plenty complicated enough. So we have 1.5 inch by 1.5, and we could make that equal if we knew that they were always going to be, it was always going to be a square. So 1 inch on the vertical and 1.38 on the horizontal. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Concern here is that round tools don't cut square holes, so depending on how we're manufacturing this, we would have to consider fillets in those corners. All right, so then the slot, we can do straight slot, which is the end points, or the center point slot for this selection. So if we drag that out, place it, then we need to jump into the dimensions, and that was just going right into the right click. I think when I'm dragging, I think more in terms of hitting that right mouse button rather than trying to figure out what I'm doing with the left mouse button. So let's see, we have 1.13 for the height. That location is the 1.66. And then its horizontal is 4.48. All right, we'll go ahead and extrude cut, and that can be a through all as well. We'll go ahead and make sure to save this. And this is our P2-23. Throw some initials in there and save. All right, got a lot of work into this so far, so I definitely do not want to accidentally crash or otherwise lose that work. So 0.25 and picking that edge, and then the right click goes into the fillet, which is the same as the fillet feature up here. And so when I pick the next item, it goes to where it shows me all of the interiors or all of the exterior rounds and fillets, and then all of the exterior and interior, which I think for my purposes or illustrative purposes, the only two that I don't know that I would want would be that one and that one. All right. So the intention is that if I was clamping this down to a plate or holding it in a vise in the milling machine, is the tool would be making its approach in Z. We'd run the pocket, run the slot, and then potentially run that notch. Now I could take this out in a second operation and set it up and nibble through there if those had to be square, but really I don't have a lot of choice with this one other than to do a corner relief so that there are reliefs for a square to get in there and the tool to get in there as well. So if I can get away with the fillet, I'm going to go that route. All right, so make adjustments that you think or would think would benefit the part. A4 has a little bit of an issue, so we always want to take that last look and see if there's anything that we missed. So if I highlight that extension line, it's going to go back. So what did I do for A4? 3.65. Then that means I missed one of the other ones. So that one went to F1, which was the 3.43. And we just make corrections if we need to. So the 3.1 I think I got off, or I'm missing the, I think I missed one altogether. All right, well, I put C1 in there somewhere, so maybe I'm missing D. So get this to this level of geometry, then that it was always the concern that something's going to get overlooked. All right, so that one is definitely A3, and it has the 0.88 by 264, so that is correct. And we're going to go process of elimination. C1 is the 0.29, so I intended that to be C, but I did not get a D in there. So the 1.76, so I mixed up those numbers. And the 2.92 for C is okay. So yeah, I combined a couple things there. So let's see, F was 0.32 and D was 0.33. So we need to update those. Well, it's not terrible, but it does illustrate the example of we're cruising right along, and there is right click on one of these, add to the ordinate. Okay, and since I'm having trouble finding that one, can't really double click on the extension line, but I can click on the extension line and have it show me the dimension I'm working on. And so D1 on the vertical is the 3.16. All right, so that gives me a group there. All right, so we'll go again, right click and add to ordinate. And we'll put that one in. And the D1 goes to the 2.66. All right, so everything should rebuild from here. I guess I need another 6 in there. All right. So don't get in too big of a hurry. Make simple mistakes like I do. It's inevitable that it's going to happen. The main thing is that you put the critical eye on it. Try and catch it. All right, we'll call it good there.